Very good evening to all of you. This is welcome to our fifth travel show called the Come Alive India series. And today we feature Jaisalmer. The show is titled Sand, Stone and Soul of Jaisalmer. Jaisalmer lies to the westernmost part of Rajasthan. It is on the western tip and is the bordering state of India with Pakistan. We have in our midst a very important person, an expert on the Rajasthan who lives in Jaisalmer, Mr. Kesar Singh. He's been a travel guide since 2012 and he entered this tourism industry in 2002. This particular episode, I do hope, will keep you interested, will make you informed, and will also create in you a desire to visit this city at a future date. So, without much ado, I will start my talk with Mr. Kesar Singh, and I invite you. In the first meantime, I would also like to tell you a few things about the program. Is that firstly, Mr. Kesar Singh is wearing a very particular turban from Rajasthan, and it's a colorful turban, which is a headgear that he's wearing, and it's one of the most interesting and commonly seen features of this particular city. And secondly, I'm wearing also a very nice outfit, which is called, which is also from Rajasthan. And let me show, this is an embroidery piece. And this is worn mostly during our occasions, festivals, and when we meet important people. So we are both dressed and attired for this occasion. And I would now like to welcome Mr. Kesar Singh. Welcome to the show, Mr. Kesar Singh. Would you like to say a few words?
Good evening, everybody. Namaste and welcome to my beautiful city of Jaisalmer. And as this town is very famous and very liked among the tourists who have visited, and those who wish to visit, they would be very curious to know that what are the things that makes Jaisalmer so special that people like it. The first thing which I would like to mention about Jaisalmer is when you come here, everything is in yellow color sandstone. I don't think there is any town or city in India of which is having a single color. And the reason why we have this yellow color is because naturally we have a lot of sandstone in Jaisalmer around the places, and it is yellow in color, and it is only found here in Jaisalmer. And this makes this town very special. The moment you come here, everything is in yellow. Apart from this, Jaisalmer has the second oldest fort of Rajasthan. Not only that, but it is the only living fort of India and fifth living fort left in the world, where even today, more than 4,000 people, they live in the fort. And this makes the town very special experience for the visitors to see the local people living in the fort. Apart from this, when we come to the Jaisalmer, the location of this town is right in the western part of India, and the climate here in Jaisalmer is dry and hot, and it's very difficult to live here, especially in the summertime. The temperature goes to 47 degrees, but people have equipped. And now the question comes, what was the reason why people have chosen this place to live in the 12th century in spite of such a harsh climate? Well, this has always been an important trading center, a part of a silk route, and this brought the wealth, the prosperity in the town. Before finding Jaisalmer, the capital of this town has been Ludrawa, which is around 18 kilometers from here. So even before 12th century, the history goes back where the rulers were living here. But due to safety reasons, they moved here, and this fort was built in the 12th century. And when the business came here, there was a camel caravans passing by, and on the camel caravans, Silk Route, the goods that have been exported from India was basically silk, indigo, cotton, opium, ivory, fabrics, and gold and silver jewelry. These were all which were exported from here. And the rulers, they used to provide the protection to this passing camel caravans, and in exchange, they used to charge some taxes. And that's how this town has always been full of wealth. Nowadays, when we have wealth, we have a lot of options to spend the money. But imagine from 12th to 15th, 16th century, if somebody has a lot of wealth, where would they spend? They can't go on a world tour. They didn't have much of expensive electronic items, neither cars. So there were only three options where they could spend the wealth. And the first was always, of course, the house. So this is the reason in Jaisalmer you see massive big houses called Havelis, and people had a lot of time as well as people have a lot of money to pay them. And as a result, these wonderful sandstone carvings have been done here, which has been never seen or heard before anywhere by the people when they visit here. So this is the reason this town has beautiful Havelis here. And the second option which people spent was on the fabrics, and third was the jewelry. And even today, jewelry, fabrics, and house, these three are the most important part of an Indian family and the main motive of a person in life. For example, in Europe, you want to see the whole world. Our motive is to have our own house, and women wants to have lots of jewelry, which I don't think anybody can imagine that even a middle class family in India, how can they have so much of jewelry? So this is how it goes with the tradition, and people are very friendly here. The climate is very good. The best time to visit Jaisalmer is in the winter's time from October to March, where we have wonderful, bright blue sky. Only thing which is very easy to predict about Jaisalmer is the weather. It's always blue, clear sky, and people are very friendly with the tourists. And if you wish to see, I can show you the town. And behind me, that's the town of Jaisalmer, as well as the fort of Jaisalmer. If you can see the fort of the 12th century, right behind my turban on the top, that's the fort of Jaisalmer. And as we wear the turban, the reason for wearing is not to make us look good. Of course, it makes us look good. But the reason why we have started wearing the turban is because to protect our head from the heat. When we have 47, 45 degrees of temperature, we have to wear this cotton turban. It protects us from heat and we can easily walk through. And it is around 8 meters long cloth, which we have to tie it up. And only man wears the turban. The women don't wear the turban. Now you will be thinking why women don't wear. Well, women mostly are housewives here, so they stay in home. And this is the reason they don't go out to work in the heat, and that's why they don't wear. So this was a brief description about Jaisalmer. And now Jaisalmer's main industry is tourism, the sandstone, and the town, in spite of having 12th century old town, still it hasn't spread much. And the reason is our geographical location. We are the last town of India in the western part. And from here, 150 kilometers is Pakistan border. And that's why everything which comes here stops and has to go back. And this is the reason we didn't have much of industries and all. But in another way, it also preserved our handcrafts, handmade things, and population of Jaisalmer right now is around 70,000 people. And the city is only spread in 5 square kilometers. So people can easily walk and see the whole town. The pollution level is almost close to zero, very clean, fresh air. And that's how it goes. So anything, Hector, would you like to
No.
ask me
Yeah,
now?
thank you very much, Kesar. I would just like to ask you, where are you situated right now? Which place are you sitting in? Which hotel are you?
Yeah, I am sitting at a very small boutique hotel run by a family. And the reason I'm here is because from here you can see the whole Jaisalmer, the sunrise, the sunsets, and the town. See this amazing view of this fort and the town from this place. And this small hotel is called Utsav Haveli. And just behind me is the Patwa Haveli as well as the fort.
Okay,
So
that is
it's in the center of the town, middle of the town.
okay. This is Utsav Haveli, right?
Utsav
Utsav
Haveli.
Haveli.
Yeah,
Okay, thank
yeah.
you. And
Utsav.
thanks for this small little introduction. I think we got a lot of information. As I told you before, in one of our previous chats, that my first visit was in 1992, and
Yeah.
that is close to 30 years back. And that was the first time. I think Jaisalmer has changed a lot, and I've also visited it many times after that. But I would just like to show
Mhm.
you an article which I wrote for my own magazine. So you will see that my association with your cities or your town is quite strong, you see. So this was an article that I wrote. It was called Jaisalmer, uh, Building Castles in the Sand.
Building castles in the sand. Yeah, I can clearly see.
You can see that.
Yeah,
So this was the
castles
article
in
that I
Jaisalmer,
wrote that
building
time.
castles and
Yeah, and at that time we could get rooms for 30 rupees a night, which was less than $1. So that's how I stayed.
yeah.
And during the course of this program, I will also tell you a few more other things. But I would also tell you that I wrote for a few couple of magazines, and this is a very famous picture of mine, which has been featured. And we have Manoj Bajpayee, the actor, on this picture. This was featured in the Filmfare magazine, and this you see is
on the Discovery.
yes, no, this was in Filmfare, Hindi film magazine, English film magazine, and you see Manoj Bajpayee, the actor there.
Filmfare, yeah.
And this picture is my picture, which
Right,
was
Manoj
taken
Bajpayee,
on
yeah.
some sand dunes many years ago,
Sunset.
and this was a sunset. So I've been promoting Jaisalmer for a long time. And also this was one of the articles that I did for Hindustan Times, which was called The Great Camel Safari. So the Great Indian Camel Safari, I was one of the first people to write on camel safaris in Rajasthan. And this article was featured in the Hindustan Times magazine, travel magazine. This was also more than 10 years ago. This is just a brief history. So I think now before we go, we will show you some of the films that you have made so that everybody will get a view and will get a first-hand account of what's happening in Jaisalmer. Incidentally, these films were only taken 2 days ago. So these are very new and original films. So I will go to the slideshow now, the film show.
Sure, please.
It was quite a good, brief discussion. Huh? What is the rent nowadays over there?
Fort where the main entrance is. Here is the main entrance, and this is the outer part of the fort where the main entrance is. Here is the main entrance, and this is the massive yellow sandstone 12th century fort, the second oldest of Rajasthan, and the only living fort of India, and perhaps very few living fort left in the world. This massive fort was built in the 12th century with yellow sandstone. Standing on a high hill, the wonderful palaces, the Queen's Palace, the flag of Jaisalmer on the top. This is the outer part of the fort where the main entrance is. Here is the main entrance, and this is.
Yeah, that was very interesting, Kesar. This is, I just want to have a couple of questions. Is that this fort was built in the 12th century, right?
Yeah, 12th century, 1156.
Okay, and
mid of 12th century.
And was there any battle fought around the fort? With the, battles around? Did you have any battles?
Yeah, there are three times the battle was fought in Jaisalmer around 12th century, 14th century, and then in 16th century. And the reason was when the Mughals were ruling India, the camel caravans which were passing by here, many times the local rulers, they used to loot the horses, the wealth, because they didn't knew it belongs to whom. And then to take revenge, after that the Mughals attacked this fort a couple of times. But strategically, it was very far from Agra and Delhi, so they didn't capture it for a long time and they left it. And it was very difficult for them to live here as well and control this place.
Okay, and this was formed by the Bati rulers, right?
Bhati rulers.
Yeah, the Bati rulers. And
this was found by the Bhati rulers, and the Bhati rulers are said to be the descendants of Lord Krishna. So they are called the Krishnavanshi, and this is considered as the seventh capital of this Krishnavanshi dynasty.
Okay. And this is the living fort. That means there are people living inside, and also you have a very beautiful palace inside the fort, correct?
Yeah, there is a beautiful palace inside the fort where the king as well as the royal family used to live before independence. And after that, they started moving out. Now still we have the king of Jaisalmer, and his name is Brijraj Singh. So he is from the same dynasty who built the fort, and now he is number 43. So we calculate number one from 1156 till now. So he is number 43. And earlier they used to live in the palace, but now as it's too busy inside the fort, they have moved out, and the local people occupies 90% of the area of the fort.
Okay. So this is one of the most impressive forts of India, which has got 99 turrets, and I think the circumference is quite large. So it's able to accommodate a small little
Yes.
set of people who want to sit here. This is very interesting. Do you have any things more to tell us about the fort? Is it also lit at night? You can do looks very nice at sunset and
Yes.
also at night, I guess.
Yeah, it looks very golden in color at the time of sunset, and in the night it is being lighted up all around the fort. There are lights, as well as recently a year ago there have been special lights being put up in the palace as well. So it looks beautiful in night.
Okay. Thank you.
So it's great to see the view of the fort in the night and sit on some of the rooftops and enjoy your dinner.
Correct.
And millions of stars in the sky.
Correct. And I think this is one of the highlights of Jaisalmer is the fort itself. So this is one of the biggest highlights of
Yes.
visiting the main the reason for visiting Jaisalmer, I think, is your forts. So now we will come. Sorry.
Forts. The fort as well as the whole town, because everything is in yellow color and the streets are very narrow and people are very friendly to walk around. So whole town is beautiful, and of course the main attraction is the fort.
And all the material that is used is the sandstone that is used for everywhere. That's why the golden look.
Everywhere it is the sandstone which is being used, and the reason is that it is easily available here and it has a very long life. And this is the reason people use the sandstone, and it is a bit soft stone, and this is the reason we can make very fine, detailed, integrate carvings on this sandstone. But it has to be done by hand. We cannot use the machines on it because it's very soft, and if it breaks a little bit, then you have to carve the whole sandstone again. This is the reason still is done by hand, and it's time consuming, but it's amazingly beautiful.
Okay, thank you. Now we go to the second highlight. I'll show you a short film on the Havelis. That is the second highlight of Jaisalmer. Sure. And Kesar will explain to us after the film is over.
This 200-year-old mansion known as Haveli, the biggest among the Havelis of Jaisalmer, belonging to the richest merchant of the Silk Route, Marmar Patwa, popularly known as Patwa Haveli. This resembles the golden period of the Silk Route, the money that has been pumped in by the business and was used to make these beautiful sandstone carvings exquisite. One has to come to watch all these sandstone carvings, and it's hard to believe that how can a human being be able to do such a fine, detailed sandstone carving which has never seen or heard before. These villages are 5-story, and resembling us the golden period of the Silk Route. Wandering cows, which is very common feature to see in Jaisalmer.
Thank you, Kesar. I think you can tell us about these three Havelis, Patwa Haveli, Salim Singh ki Haveli, and the particular Havelis that you have from the royal family. How old
In
is
Nathmal.
this Patwa Haveli that we saw?
All the three Havelis which you mentioned right now, they are around 200 years old, all of them.
How old is it?
Hello,
Hello? Yeah,
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
200 years old. These
200.
Havelis are 200 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, 200 years old. And these Havelis belongs to two class of people. One is the merchant class people, and another is the noble class people, those who used to work for the king, like the accountant, the chief of the army, the chief advisor. So their houses were always built outside the fort, and they were called Havelis, as well as the rich merchants who had a lot of wealth. They also built their houses, which are called Havelis. Now, the reason why they are called Havelis is that Hawa means the wind, the breeze. In our local language, we call it Hawa. So the house which has lot of windows, which is multi-stories, and wind can easily pass by, was called Haveli by the local people, and that's how it got its name.
Okay, and one more thing is that the Havelis have a very scientific reason for keeping the rooms warm in the winter time and the rooms cool in the summertime. Can you explain something about that?
One of the reason why it remains cooler in the summertime is that because it is multi-story, so it doesn't get the sunlight from the ceilings. And secondly, the entrance, the gates of the Havelis are very low. So when you come here, if you want to enter, you really have to bend yourself to go inside. And the windows are very small. And this is the reason they have intentionally make it so that the outer warm air couldn't enter into the room. And as long as it doesn't happen, it remains cooler from inside. And same applies in the winter time as well. The cold breeze don't enter inside, and that's why the doors as well as the windows are very smaller in size.
So
Many times the tourists ask me the question that people are very tall, so why did they make such a such a tiny doors? But as you rightly asked, it's because to keep them cool and hot in winters and the summers.
So how many Havelis we can see now when on a visit? Can we go inside the Havelis or it's only from out?
Yes, yes. No, people can easily go inside the Havelis and they can see the Havelis. In some of the Havelis, the families are living inside, and some of the Havelis they can see from outside with the sandstone carvings. So there are many Havelis, but three are the major Havelis as you mentioned: the Patwa Haveli, the Nathmal Haveli, and Salam Singh Haveli. Patwa Haveli belongs to the merchant class people, and Salam Singh and Nathmal were both noble class people working for the king, and this was their private residence.
Okay. There is one more question I would like to ask you. I'm sure people are always wondering about accommodation facilities in Jaisalmer. Yes. And I know from my personal experience, plenty of good accommodation to stay. But can you tell us about the heritage hotels, luxury hotels, little bit, a brief information?
Considering the size of Jaisalmer, you will be amazed to know that how much accommodation and hotels are available in Jaisalmer. It ranges from 2-star to 5-star wonderful hotels in Jaisalmer. So there have been no issue with the accommodation. And in fact, most of the hotels are built in such a way that accommodation itself would be a highlight for the people to come here and stay. Many times they like their hotel so much that they don't want to go outside in the town. Everything is so beautiful here. So there are 5-star hotels, 4-star, 3-star, as well as 2-star category. And there is so much of options here for the people around the fort, in the town, little bit away from the town. So all kind of accommodation facilities are available here in Jaisalmer.
Okay.
Plenty.
So there is heritage hotels also, right?
Plenty
We have heritage hotels also.
Lots of hotels, yeah.
Okay. And normally now, before we go to the desert part, I think we covered the fort, we covered the Havelis. Now the third part is that Jaisalmer is the entrance to the Thar desert, and it's known for its camel safaris, and it's very exotic and very ethnic rural trips. And I think one of the most highlights of Jaisalmer and any trip to Rajasthan. So I will start with a small slideshow, and Kesar will explain to us a little bit about the safaris. I myself have done a few safaris, and the experience is enthralling. I can show you that. So Kesar, we will start with this small slideshow. This is a presentation. Would you like to add anything
Sure.
before we start?
Please, you can show the slide and then I would on it after
Okay.
viewing it. Please.
Okay, this is the first. Actually, these slides that you're seeing are a collection of my pictures, and we will just take a small little a walk through these slides. Kesar, this is your town of Jaisalmer, right? As seen from the fort.
This is how the town looks like exactly.
Yeah, and you can see the gold everywhere. So it's all the golden name that is given to it is quite very apt.
Yellow.
Yes, I can hear you. Now this
Yeah,
is the Jaisal
everything
fort during the daytime. Kesar, this was a picture that I took on one of my visits. And this is a very nice picture of the Jaisal fort during the daytime. And when the sun was, I think, having a good shadow
Jaisal
or
fort.
good light. You can see this picture. And you can see also a small advertisement of the Jaisal Palace Hotel. I don't know if it is still there. But this is the second. Yeah, it's still there. And this is the castle at night. So the Jaisalmer Palace, the Jaisal Fort at night, this is how it looks because it has got a very lot of good lighting. Kesar, you like to tell something about the night view at the fort?
Oh, night view at the fort is a must to see, and I love spending the evenings and night looking at majestic fort. It's a beautiful, wonderful experience, especially to have a dinner on some of the rooftops, and after that maybe continuing the drinks up to late night and enjoying this beautiful fort with the lights. I would say it looks even more beautiful than what we see in the day with these lights. Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful experience.
Yeah, this is some of the locals who are living inside the fort. And as you can see, this is the walls are all painted brown and gold. Now we come to this part of the where we go to start the camel excursions. And before Kesar takes over, I would just like to tell you that Jaisalmer is the gateway to the Thar Desert and is known for its excursions that range from maybe 3 hours to the Sam Desert to maybe 7 days when you do a long trip. So this is one of the trips that I did on a camel safari. And Kesar will now tell you about these camel safaris in detail.
Yeah, these camels are beautiful animals and also known as the sheep of the desert. And the camels here are used for traveling, milk, and wool. People don't eat the camel here. We only use for traveling, for wool and milk. And the milk of the camel is very good, and it is very high in protein, and it has antimicrobial and protective elements. And such protein is not found in a cow's milk. And camel milk has 10 times more iron and 3 times more vitamin C as compared to the cow's milk. And you will be surprised to know that camel milk has very less cholesterol as compared to cow's milk. And it is very, very good for the diabetic patients. If people here have diabetes, they drink the camel milk for around 5-6 months and the diabetes is cured. So it's a medicine for diabetic patients. And a camel in a day only gives around 5 liters of milk maximum. And the baby needs to be feeded every day, then only the camel will give the milk. And that's how this camel has been very, very useful animal for the people. Now I come to the part of the camel safaris. Mostly when the tourist visits here.
Very good evening to all of you. This is welcome to our fifth travel show.